So I think the first good one was Operation High Jump. Admiral Byrd goes down to Antarctica with a armed fleet, supposedly looking for Nazi UFOs, and it's a 6-month mission, and in a few days they have to turn back, and it's crazy stuff. So I did that story, and I think I got 50,000 views.
I don't think I saw that one.
It's an old one.
What happened in Operation High Jump?
All right, Admiral Byrd goes down. This is just after the war. Remember, the Nazis were fleeing to South America, so mostly Argentina. So the Nazis had established or tried to establish a base in Antarctica. That's true. It's New Schwabenland. Now, people say they were trying to build a Nazi base and all that stuff. They were really just looking for a whaling station to get oil. So Hitler didn't want to rely on outside sources. So anyway, after the war, they go down there. We still don't really know specifically why. It was supposed to be just to see how our aircraft would operate in cold weather. That was what they said. But this was a fleet that was armed to the teeth, super armed. The first helicopters were there, destroyers. So they go down there. It's supposed to be a multi-month mission, maybe 6 months. They get down there, and in a matter of weeks, maybe even fewer, they just bail. And no one really knows why. There's a press contingent there. No one knows what's going on. And Admiral Byrd starts giving these weird interviews. And the first one was in Spanish. It might have been either Argentinian or Brazilian newspaper. And he talks about how there could be these craft that attack the United States from the poles, and craft that can fly pole to pole. And people were like, what's that? And just sparked this crazy stuff. And you can hear him talking about these things. So High Jump goes down there to look for stuff. We don't really know why they left.
Admiral Byrd was talking about these crafts?
Admiral Richard E. Byrd, this famous guy, flew the North Pole like a super badass. He was, on paper, the commanding officer, but he preferred to just fly his plane and do stuff. So the legend is, they get down there, Admiral Byrd takes his plane, starts flying across Antarctica, and sees patches of green. And he can't believe it. And he's on the radio saying, I'm seeing this, rolling hills, sun is shining. He keeps flying. It gets greener and greener. And then he's like, I just saw woolly mammoths. Woolly mammoths grazing in the green. And he keeps going, and he's on the radio, and then he's talking, I'm seeing all this stuff. The sun is bright, and then radio contact goes out. He's flying and flying. Suddenly he's engulfed in light, and he doesn't know where he is. The green is behind him. He's just flying in light, just trying to get his bearings, and then up beside him, 2 flying saucers just kind of next to him. Almost like, the F-16s trying to wave you down. Mm-hmm. 2 flying saucers. And he looks over, and they have swastikas on them. And he's like, uh-oh. So he's on the stick, and he feels the stick shaking, and then the stick just goes dead. And then he goes down with the UFOs, and they just land into a cavern in the hollow earth, right? So that's how that happens. And they take Admiral Byrd out, and they're tall aliens.
With swastikas on their crafts.
On the crafts.
Like the ancient symbol.
I don't know, which would be reversed, right?
Well, I think there was a bunch of different versions. I think the Nazi one, it was kind of tilted.
Yes.
But there was a bunch of the Hindu ones and a lot of the Japanese ones.
For thousands of years.
Yeah.
A positive symbol of life and prosperity. We don't know how they were oriented because I debunked all this. I'm telling you the legend.
Right.
Because that's kind of my format, right? I get you excited.
We should explain that to people. You get everybody all jazzed up, and then at the end, you kind of...
I get so much heat for it.
Yeah, it's fun.
And I watch the numbers. As soon as I say, but is it true? Everyone's done.
Nobody wants to know the truth.
No one wants to know.
They want to know fun.
And then I'll get the hate mail. You ruined it for me.
So what is the truth?
The truth is, a lot of that comes from Admiral Byrd's diary, which was discovered years later, which was not his diary. Right. Horseshit. And he flew the North Pole, not the South Pole. But here's the interesting thing. He was in a single-man aircraft that only had so much fuel. He was, which can only fly for a little bit, he was out of radio contact for 3 hours. Nobody knows where he went.